Park2Park podcast, where we compare theme park offerings from coast to coast. We don't always see eye to eye, but in the end, we try. I'm your host, Alli, and as always, I'm joined by CJ. How are you tonight, CJ?
I am doing well. How are you doing tonight, Alli?
I'm doing great. I just ate half a pizza.
Half a pizza?
Yes.
That's a lot of pizza.
It was, but it was very good.
Nice. I did not have half a pizza for dinner.
Did you have any pizza?
No, I had pasta, which is, kind of like pizza, just in a different form.
It's like deconstructed pizza.
Which is just as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we talking about tonight, Alli?
Well, yeah, thank you for getting me back on track. So thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We are not talking about pizza versus pasta. This episode, we are pitting the two icons you know and love against each other. That's right. It's a castle battle. Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland versus Cinderella Castle at Magic Kingdom. Ready? Fight! CJ, tell me your favorite part of the castle at each park.
Well, let's start with Magic Kingdom because that's the castle I'm seeing more frequently these days. And something I really love about Magic Kingdom, this might be kind of a weird answer, but I really like the mosaics that are on the inside of the castle as you walk through. And I'll be honest, I don't remember seeing these until I did the Princess Half Marathon in 2017. I was really sick when I did that half marathon. I had to walk the whole thing. I was just not feeling well. And I'm surprised I finished in one piece, to be honest. And I did not know that there were mosaics inside the castle. And the half marathons go through Fantasyland and you run through the castle. And I was feeling really miserable. And I remember going through the castle going, oh my gosh, there's mosaics in here. And it was just such a bright spot in that horrible experience for me.
Aww.
So when I go to the Magic Kingdom, I don't always go to I don't always walk through the castle, but when I do, I look at the mosaics and I'm just like blown away by how beautiful and how detailed they are. And they're so pretty. So if you haven't taken the time to go look at the mosaics, make sure you do. They're really beautiful.
And I didn't even it didn't even register with me that they were there, and I was just at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. They're, you get lost in the hustle and bustle of the crowds, and sometimes that pathway through the castle is blocked off if they're doing a castle stage show. So, I mean, you can miss it pretty easily. So just make sure if you want to see them, you have to time it right. And then
what about Sleeping Beauty?
Similarly, it's inside the castle, but a different part of the castle. I like that you can walk through the castle to see the story of Sleeping Beauty. It's an attraction in the castle, and that's really cool. You start on one side of the castle and you walk through it, and we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah. It's like an attraction within an attraction.
Yes. So, Alli, what about you?
So, for Magic Kingdom, Cinderella is my princess. She, my craft room is decorated with Cinderella stuff. So I really, really love just the fact that it is Cinderella Castle. And I also really love that there's a restaurant inside.
That is cool. I've never eaten there.
I ate there once. We had a view of Fantasyland from our table, and it was really cool. And I got to take home a magic wand because all the princesses who ate inside got to take home a magic wand.
Nice.
I was definitely the oldest princess who was not accompanied by any younger princesses. That's fine. I'm a princess.
Okay.
And then at Sleeping Beauty Castle, I really like how the fireworks frame the castle at night. It's really pretty. And I also really like that it's the most obvious pathway to get into Fantasyland is just direct, and you walk under and you're just like greeted with the carousel and the sword and the stone and everything around it, and you're just like, I just entered a castle and now I'm in Fantasyland. And I just think that whole experience is really cool.
That's a good point, and I hadn't really considered that the obvious way to get to Fantasyland is through the castle.
Yeah.
Whereas
I mean, there are other ways.
Yeah, at Magic Kingdom, it's not so obvious, and you kind of have to go around.
Yeah. Are you ready for a pop quiz?
Let's do it.
Which park has more castles, Magic Kingdom or Disneyland?
Well, I actually kind of had to rack my brain on this a little bit for Magic Kingdom. And I know the answer to Disneyland. Like, this was actually pretty easy for me because Storybook Land Canal Boats is a ride that doesn't exist at Magic Kingdom, but they have a lot of castles. And for our Magic Kingdom friends who don't know what this ride is, do you want to describe it for them?
You get on a boat and you go through the little miniature villages and the miniature castles that are next to the villages, and you get the little stories.
Well, hold up. Well, first you get eaten by Monstro the whale.
That's true. You do get eaten by Monstro first.
Yes, and then you
And
like he blows up.
you are reborn from death. You are reborn into the storybook world, and then at the end of the ride, I don't know, you get off and you're not dead anymore. I don't know. It's a metaphor.
It's not really violent.
It's not. You don't feel a thing.
It's a very peaceful journey. But within that, you do see the little storybook villages. And because there's all these classic princess stories in the ride, you get a lot of castles.
Hmm.
So how many castles are in there?
So, in addition to Sleeping Beauty Castle, which is obviously the only full-scale castle in Disneyland, there are 6 castles in the Storybook Land canals. So you have the castle from Aladdin, which I guess it's a palace. You have Cinderella Castle. You have 2 from Frozen. You have the one in Arendelle, and you have Elsa's beautiful ice castle. And there are 2 from The Little Mermaid, one belonging to Prince Eric, and one that is behind the waterfall at the end that is King Triton's palace.
So that makes 7 total
7
castles,
total at Disneyland.
which is pretty impressive. Meanwhile, at Magic Kingdom, you obviously have Cinderella Castle, and then Beauty and the Beast has, their castle over by Be Our Guest. Little Mermaid has a castle over by the Little Mermaid attraction. And then we had some debate about this over by the Rapunzel bathrooms. Is the tower back there, does that count as Rapunzel's castle?
I say no because it's not the castle in the Kingdom of Corona. It is a tower where she was held hostage for 17 years of her life. I'm sorry, 16 years of her life.
But is that part of a castle?
No, it's a standalone structure.
Okay, we'll call it 3.5. Regardless, I think, Disneyland kind of blows Magic Kingdom out of the water in terms of number of castles.
Yeah. Now, granted, Magic Kingdom, as always, wins in size. All of Magic Kingdom's castles are much bigger, but in terms of numbers, Disneyland has significantly more castles.
Yeah, and at Magic Kingdoms, you can take a picture with all of these. In fact, most of the time, there's a PhotoPass photographer over by Beauty and the Beast Castle, the Little Mermaid Castle, and at night, over by Rapunzel's tower, her bathroom tower, there's a PhotoPass opportunity where they have one of the floating lanterns that you can stand with and take a picture, which is really cool.
Oh, my heart. One of my friends hasn't been to, she might have been to a Disney park before, but she keeps telling me when I go to a Disney park, I want to go with you, Alli. And Tangled is her favorite Disney movie. So when she finds out about this, she might cry a little bit.
So, pro tip, I watch, like half the fireworks show and then I move on to something else before the crowds go crazy. I walked over towards Haunted Mansion at the end of the fireworks show and I saw people standing in line to do the Tangled photo op. You can get, depending on how they angle the camera, the fireworks were going off in the background while people were holding the Tangled lantern during
Oh,
the
that's
photo op.
cool.
So I'm not sure how much of the sky they can get in the background of that shot, but that would be like a killer photo.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's over kind of by, it's like past Small World on the way to Haunted Mansion.
Noted.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's go back to the main castles. So we want to talk about, obviously, these castles are very different from each other. So we're just going to start with the obvious differences. So Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland is 77 feet tall. There's an obvious moat and a working drawbridge. The castle itself is pink and blue, which is very fitting when you consider it's Sleeping Beauty Castle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Cinderella Castle is 189 feet tall. It has a clock on the front of it, which I think is a really unique feature. But that's, kind of a throwback to Cinderella. She's got to be home by a certain time, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of turrets, and looking at pictures, the turrets are like really tall and really narrow, and
Mhm.
and it's a tall castle. It's very skinny, and I think Sleeping Beauty Castle is more like this sounds like a weird word to describe, but it's more like squat, you know?
That's exactly the word that I was thinking.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just
No.
it's structurally different. There's a lot of gold leafing on Cinderella Castle. In fact, the top spire looks entirely gold. There's a lot of light pink, dark blues, grays. It really looks very nice from all angles. And the back side of the castle has a lot of windows, which makes sense. I mean, Cinderella's royal table, the restaurant is back there, and they want people dining there to have a nice view. So yeah, it's a very beautiful castle.
Yeah, and I think the Imagineers learned a lot, especially about forced perspective with the Cinderella castle because it looks a lot bigger. And all I think of those narrow spires really help reinforce the height of this castle. Where Sleeping Beauty, you know, obviously it's the first castle they made. So there's, you know, they did a phenomenal job, but I think those early Imagineers had a lot to learn, and they applied what they learned for Cinderella Castle.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, there's a fun fact about Sleeping Beauty Castle. It has a connection to Soaring Around the World. Do you know what that is?
Tell me.
The castle that inspired the look of Soaring Around the World. I'm sorry, the castle that inspired the look of Sleeping Beauty Castle is featured in Soaring Around the World.
I knew that. I realized it a split second after I told you to tell me. But I was like, wait a minute, it's the forgive my horrible German, but it's like Neuschwanstein Castle or
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
Yeah.
I don't speak German or whatever language that is.
I think it's German.
I'm sure.
Anyways.
Anyways, next topic.
Yeah, so both of these castles actually have a unique, or they share a feature in common, and that's that they have a wishing well. So, CJ, do you want to go first on this one and tell us about the wishing well at Cinderella Castle?
Sure. The wishing well at Cinderella Castle is Cinderella themed, and it's on a pathway. So let's back this up a little bit. The castle has two pathways, you know, one on the right side, one on the left side. So the wishing well is on the right side, and it's on the pathway leading from Tomorrowland. And you have to like access it pretty far on the right side. And
And
it's
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify, it's on the right side when you're like facing the castle, not when you're
from
in Fantasyland.
yeah, from Main Street, yes. And it's very ornate and it features birds and other animals from the movie. And it has this stylized fancy C on the top. So C for Cinderella. And it's a really popular photo spot. You can get, you know, the castle in the background and some of the moat up front. And it's really pretty. And the pathway that it's on leads to the back side of the castle.
Yeah, I actually walked by it on my trip there. It was really cute. I mean, I didn't stop. There was a nice big photo pass line there. But I got to see it and I went, "Aw, wishing well."
Yeah.
So the wishing well at Sleeping Beauty Castle is exactly as you would expect, Snow White themed. Yes, you heard that correctly. It's Snow White's grotto and wishing well. And the reason it's Snow White themed is that there was a donation, an anonymous donation of these beautiful white statues of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And they said let's find a well, I think Walt said let's find a place for them in the park. So they have this waterfall and the Seven Dwarfs and Snow White are there. And it's kind of funny actually that Snow White was carved to be the same size as the Seven Dwarfs. So they used forced perspective and they put her on the top so that way she doesn't look the same size, she looks taller than them. There's also obviously the wishing well. Whenever somebody throws a coin into the well, the song "I'm Wishing" plays, which is I believe it's the original version by Adriana Caselotti, the voice of Snow White. And all donations from the wishing well are sent to local charities. And CJ, you have a very nice story about the wishing well.
Yeah, that's where my husband proposed to me because Snow White's my favorite princess, my favorite character, my favorite movie. And it's a really nice little spot. And sometimes, you know, they have the characters come out over there. The evil queen hangs out over there. Princesses hang out over there sometimes. And there, remember that that like wooden bridge with the hearts on it leading over there? It's really pretty on that side.
Yeah. And it's also roughly in the equivalent area as Cinderella Castle. It's on the right side when you're facing the castle from Main Street.
Yeah, and they have what do you call it? Like not a cave, like a mine in the background with like sparkling lights. So it looks like there's a mine full of gems behind one of the dwarfs that they're emerging from.
Yeah, they
It's
really
just
went all in with those statues and the theming around it.
yeah, it's really cute. Okay, let's talk about what's inside the castle. So Allie, what's inside Disneyland's castle?
So, as CJ mentioned previously, there is a Sleeping Beauty walkthrough. So you get it's basically a retelling of the story of Sleeping Beauty with all this amazing artwork and the corridor of goons and more amazing artwork. And because there's a lot of stairs, there's an alternate viewing area for people who are unable to do stairs for any reason.
Yeah, this is not ADA compliant.
A lot of Disneyland is not ADA compliant because ADA didn't exist when Disneyland was built, but they've worked really hard over the past several years to make accommodations.
Yeah, this is one of those that's been like grandfathered in over the years. I want to say that this experience closed like in the wake of 9/11, and then they brought it back, and
Yes.
it's been updated over the years, and it's in really good shape these days. Like the colors are so vibrant and the story is told in a really cool way, and it takes what, 3 to 5 minutes to walk through, and there's never a line. And I think it's worth going out of your way to go do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. If nothing else, it's in the dark and it's cool and air conditioned and you get to look at like all this beautiful artwork. I mean, there's like it's a win-win, frankly.
Yeah. And I just think it's really cool. It's one of those unique things, and it feels like old school Disneyland to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And inside Magic Kingdom's castle, you have Cinderella's Royal Table restaurant, which you and I talked about. And there's the Dream Suite. Do you know what the Dream Suite is?
It's a place where rich people can sleep.
Well, I mean, there's kind of some like debate on who exactly can get in. I've heard you can pay for it. I've heard it's for like Make-A-Wish families. I don't really know how you can get into the Dream Suite, but basically there's a very, very fancy overnight suite. There's pictures of it online. I'm sure there's videos of it as well, but it was created during the Year of a Million Dreams promotion, which was like 2007-ish, 2008, I think.
Sounds right.
Yeah, where Disney was just like giving stuff away randomly, like, ta-da, like Year of a Million Dreams, you get XYZ.
Yeah, you get fast passes. You get
Yeah,
fast passes. You get
yeah.
buttons. Yeah.
We mostly got fast passes and buttons and things like that.
We
But
got the fast passes a lot.
yes. But one of the things they gave away was overnight stays in the Dream Suite in the castle, and it's this like amazing suite inside the castle. The other thing that's inside Cinderella Castle is Bippity Boppity Boutique, which is like a salon makeover place for little children to get made up into princesses and stuff like that. So they can have their hair done, makeup done, buy the princess outfit, whatever. It has not reopened for makeovers yet. Hopefully it reopens soon because I know a lot of people are missing that.
And I might be wrong here because I've never had an experience at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, but they might also be able to do pirates for little boys and
I think
princes.
so. I think they do. Yeah.
So it's not just for the little princesses. Princes and pirates are welcome too.
Yeah, and Disneyland has Bippity Boppity Boutique as well, but it's further back in Fantasyland, not
Mhm.
technically in the castle.
So I'm going to jump around on our outline a little bit here because you mentioned not technically in the castle. Let's talk about what is in Disneyland Castle. There used to be some shops inside Disneyland's Sleeping Beauty Castle. So the Castle Heraldry shop used to be there. It was later moved and then closed and replaced with some like Merlin's magical marvels or something like that. It was very alliterative.
Yeah,
Um,
that just opened recently. I've seen like pictures and videos of it.
so that the Castle Heraldry shop is no more. Um, and there was the Enchanted Chamber shop, and we think that's closed at this point. Neither of us have been through the castle recently enough to confirm this. And the latest we can see online about Enchanted Chamber was 2019. So please, somebody chime in and tell us, is there a shop at this location in Sleeping Beauty
Yeah,
Castle?
and
Let us know.
to clarify which shop this is, if you are walking through Disneyland's castle, like you are at the partner statue and you are walking towards the carousel through the castle, and there's a shop in the castle on your left side.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shop we're talking about. And I'll be honest, I rarely went in there. That is a very small shop, and I did not really ever have a reason to go in there, but I always saw it.
Yeah, I feel
So,
like it was most of the times that like we were there growing up, it was too young for us. It was a lot of like princess costumes, and
yeah.
we were past that already.
Yeah. And it was called Enchanted Chamber, and we were looking like on the Disney website, it doesn't have any mention of Enchanted Chamber anymore. So, like my gut tells me if they're not mentioning it, then it's closed, but like I can't find any Disney blogs or anything mentioning like Enchanted Chamber closed for good. I can't find anything.
Yeah, the last like dated mention we can find of it is from 2019. So I don't know. Maybe we need to call up some magic key holder friends and be like, hey, next time you're in the park, let me know what's under the
Confirm.
castle.
Can you confirm or deny the status of Enchanted Chamber?
Any of our listeners, tweet us, add us on Instagram, send us an email, let us know. If you've been there recently, we want to know.
Yes. Let's talk about the artwork that's on, in, and around the castle. Alli, what's going on with the artwork at
I'm
Sleeping
reading
Beauty
my
Castle?
notes and I'm laughing again. Okay, so and I will read this verbatim so that people can understand why I'm laughing so much. Okay, so there apparently were mosaics at some point because I found some articles that said that there was a Sleeping Beauty mosaic sold at auction in 2021 for $363,000.
Dang.
There's also artwork depicting scenes from Sleeping Beauty when you walk through the drawbridge to the back of the castle. And then near the entrance to the castle walkthrough, there's a statue of Princess Aurora dancing with, and I quote from my notes, Prince Philly Boy.
I don't know why you wrote Prince Billy Boy.
Sleep deprivation is probably my excuse, but yeah, there's a lovely little statue of Princess Aurora dancing with Prince Philip.
Yeah. And it has a couple like drinking fountains on there.
Yes,
Yeah. Strange
because
spot
I
for a
mean,
drinking fountain.
no, you've been dancing. You're thirsty, obviously.
Okay. Well, interestingly enough, Cinderella Castle kind of has a similar fountain. I honestly, I should have looked this up. I don't remember if there's drinking fountains attached to it, but Cinderella has a similar bronze-ish kind of statue right there in the back of the castle. She's in her like cleaning outfit. I don't know what to call it. Her maid outfit. I don't know. Her I am not yet a princess outfit. Um and when you like bow down to her, when you like bend over or when you're at like child's height, there's a painted crown behind her, and so like it looks like the crown is on her head, so she becomes a princess, which is kind of cool.
Just Disney playing with perspective more.
Yes, yes, it's really cool. And then I talked earlier about the mosaics. There's 5 of them inside the castle when you walk through towards Fantasyland, and they're made up of silver and 14 karat gold. They're just really beautiful, and they were designed by legendary Imagineer Dorothea Redmond, who's done a lot of work for the Walt Disney Company. So make sure you go check them out.
So each of these parks have now had their 50th anniversary, or at least, well, I mean, I know the celebration's ongoing for Magic Kingdom. So they've had some decor put up. So at Disneyland for the 50th anniversary, way back in the 2000s, each turret was given a crown representing a decade from the park's history. So there was a pair of ears peeking up over the horizon to represent the 50s, a world on the move for the new Tomorrowland of the 1960s, represented by rocket ships and opalescent planets. We got the 70s and the iconic Main Street Electrical Parade, and the Blue Fairy was on that turret. Next, the Indiana Jones Adventure was represented by the Evil Eye of Mara, guarded by, of course, had to be snakes. And then the 50th anniversary of Disneyland was represented by fireworks and Tinkerbell. So shout out to Wikipedia for all that information, because CJ thought they were represented by princesses, and I honestly hardly remembered.
I just remembered the crowns, okay? And then I looked at the picture and read the description, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. And it kind of all came back to me. But really my impression of it was crowns and gold everywhere.
Yeah, it was very glam.
Yes, yes, gold everywhere. Now the theme at Magic Kingdom is iridescent.
Ay.
Iridescent, yeah. But the castle also received a new paint job, and that paint job was going on. We were here the week the parks reopened in July 2020, and looking back at our pictures, there's like cranes in the background of the castle. Like they were painting the castle. The turrets became like a dark purplish blue kind of color, and it's faded a little bit as as the sun fades
Mhm.
the paint here. So it's I don't know, it's this like iridescent purpley blue color with like goldish sparkles, like a goldish bronzy kind of sparkly theme. There's like gold ribbons and banners. Yeah, that's kind of just what it is.
Do you wish there was more gold?
Yes. Yes. Most people that I've spoken with kind of think the 50th anniversary is underwhelming and not really what they anticipated.
I will say it did come on the heels of a very challenging time, not just for Disney, but for the entire world. But also, like you don't plan a 50th anniversary party in a year.
Yeah,
Not
I
for
mean,
not for a theme park.
yeah. Let's I have thoughts, but let's get into it when when we do the head-to-head comparison.
Okay, so we'll move on to fireworks. The castle is involved in the fireworks show in each park, both with characters and projections. So we're going to start with talking about characters. At Disneyland, the characters will fly starting from the top of the Matterhorn and go behind and over the castle, and to the left of the castle they can go back and forth, and in the end they reportedly crash into a mattress.
I think that they have probably updated that technology over the years, but
I
like
hope so, because it does not seem comfortable.
no, but that was kind of like the long-standing rumor for Tinkerbell for like years and years. She flies into a mattress backstage, and that was just like the rumor for so many years.
So, in addition to, as CJ mentioned, Tinkerbell flying from the Matterhorn to the castle, other characters have participated in this flight as well. There's been Dumbo, Zero from The Nightmare Before Christmas, Buzz Lightyear, and I think most interestingly, the house from Up.
Yeah. Yeah, they've gotten like super creative with the characters that have flown over the castle, which is really cool, really unique. And I think Nemo flew too.
I do recall, I know they turned the Matterhorn into Mount Wanahakalugi for some of the
Yes.
fireworks. So I do believe that there has been a Nemo um, going up, not necessarily going towards the castle, but going up towards the Matterhorn
Yes.
to,
Yes.
cross the fiery ring of Mount Wanahakalugi.
Yeah, I think having the Matterhorn as part of the fireworks show, I feel like in the last, I don't know, 10-ish years, they've been able to incorporate the Matterhorn as part of the fireworks show. And I think adding that as not just the starting point for the characters, but really making it part of the show enables them to use more characters like Nemo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in full support of the use of the Matterhorn. I think it's opened up a lot of possibilities, but we're not here to talk about the Matterhorn.
No.
CJ, let's move on to Magic Kingdom and their characters.
So I had a hard time finding what other characters fly over the castle. I could only really find information about Tinkerbell. She starts from the top of the castle and flies towards Tomorrowland Terrace, the restaurant. So she flies kind of over the people. So that's kind of cool. Um, that's kind of how she goes. It was hard to find information. I was like looking up different fireworks shows and I was struggling to find information.
That's
So,
okay.
yeah.
We were also struggling to find information earlier. Sometimes, it's very difficult to find stuff. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. We research the best that we can.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the castle itself and how it's used during fireworks shows. So, Allie, kick us off.
Yeah, so Disneyland has started doing some of the projection mapping, and I say they've started doing some of the projection mapping. They have been doing it for quite some time. like back when I was still a pass holder. I know they were doing it on It's a Small World because that was my go-to place for watching the fireworks, just because there's tends to be less people. So they do the projection mapping on the castle, and there's some low-level pyrotechnics, just like some fireworks that shoot off like from directly behind the castle that do the like wah.
And
And
don't
if
they
you're
do
watching on
fire
YouTube, you could see
also?
that, but yeah, there's also fire that they can do. I don't know if they're doing it in whatever the current fireworks show is, but they have had the capability to do fire as well in the past.
I think they've also done, like they have the fireworks spinning rings
Yeah,
on
yeah, the
sticks
ones
that
that look
pop
like
up.
lollipops. Yeah,
Yeah, or like
or pinwheels.
pinwheels. Yeah, yeah. They don't use those in every show, but they do come up from the castle. And we talked about Sleeping Beauty's castle being kind of squat.
Yeah.
Like it's wide, that helps with those kind of things because they can have those like lollipop firework things pop up and spin around and then just go back down for the next show.
Yeah, and I also think the height of the castle is really beneficial here because you can get, like for the fireworks show itself, you can get up close to the castle and not have your view obscured.
Right, right. So at Magic Kingdom, they do a ton of projections on the castle, a lot of them. And they actually do kind of like a warm-up projection show before the fireworks even starts. And it's kind of funny because I hang out like in Fantasyland behind the castle for the fireworks most of the time. And people hear the music for the projection show before the fireworks starts. And they go, "Oh no, we missed the fireworks show." And I'm thinking like you guys would hear the fireworks go off. Like
Yeah,
you
they're
didn't miss
not
the show.
quiet.
Yeah. So anyways, they do a really good job of using the castle and they have such a huge palette to use. It just they do a really, really good job. And there's a lot of gray bricks. I know they're not real bricks, but they're gray brick looking surfaces that they can
Stone
use.
veneer?
Yeah, stones that they can project onto. And it looks really, really good. And they do projections at Christmas time and it's just awesome.
Yeah, speaking of Christmas time, let's talk about how the castle gets decked out for Christmas. Sleeping Beauty Castle does all the things. There's wreaths, there's snow, there's Christmas bubbles, there's lights, there's everything. It's absolutely gorgeous. No matter what time of day you're looking at it, first thing in the morning, high noon, park closing, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Christmas is my favorite holiday, so maybe I'm biased here, but it's just amazing the way that they transform the castle. Like it's still very clearly Sleeping Beauty Castle, but it's transformed at Christmas time.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom, Cinderella Castle, not so much. I'm not really sure why. They just do the castle dream lights, which are the snow lights, and at night when they are turned on, it is so beautiful. It's like a glowing white snow light beacon. It's like, oh, like it's really pretty. And I mentioned this a while back in an earlier episode. They didn't do it this year because they've got the 50th anniversary thing going on, and I understand that. But they don't have like the garland on the castle and stuff. It's not it's not really decorated like it is for Disneyland. It's like you get to the end of Main Street and the decorations kind of just stop. So, yeah.
That feels kind of abrupt.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it too. And, my theory is it's so much taller and they already have to have, when they put up the dream lights, they already have to have the crane out for a really long time. Like it's not like an instantaneous thing. It takes several days to put it up and put it down. And if they were to do like wreaths and garland and the whole nine yards, it would take that much longer, with the crane in the background for everybody's picture. And I don't think they want to do that. Um, that and the castle being taller, like, would the wreath and the garland even show up? You know what I mean?
I don't think it would have the same impact as it has
Yeah.
on Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where they're at. And I'm not, I don't know. That's kind of what my gut tells me. But they do have other decorations in their past that have been interesting and controversial. So for Walt Disney World's 25th anniversary, they have the infamous Candy Castle. It's very strange. If you have not seen it, you should Google it. It was like pink and fluffy looking. It looked like a cake decorated
It
with candy.
it looks straight out of Candyland.
Yeah, that's really the only way to describe it. And it's kind of like become a joke these days, but also very nostalgic. You should look it up. Definitely look it up. When the attraction Stitch's Great Escape opened in 2004, Stitch took over the castle and like put toilet paper on it. I'm not kidding. Oh my gosh, this was horrible, in my opinion. Absolutely horrible. Imagine you saved up your entire life to take your family on this once in a lifetime trip to Magic Kingdom, and the castle is decorated in toilet paper. Like, how would you feel about that?
Well, it would be memorable.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't know. It was a choice.
Didn't Stitch also spray paint something on it?
Yeah, I think he put like Stitches King or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it was something. And then another notable decoration in 2005, it got decorated for Disneyland's 50th anniversary as well. So it got golden decor too, which was very pretty, and it had this mosaic like window kind of thing on the very front of the castle, and it had these rotating pictures that showed images of the other Disney parks castles from around the world.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that they chose to celebrate Disneyland's 50th anniversary, but it seems like the other parks aren't celebrating Disney World's 50th anniversary.
Well, I mean, you're the older sibling. You understand that like everything's about you, and then when the same thing rolls
Oh
around for the
my
younger sibling,
gosh.
like
What kind of message is that? Wow, shots fired.
Mom, I know you're listening to this. Don't worry, I don't actually feel that way.
Oh my gosh. Let's go back to the older sibling castle and talk about other ways it gets decorated.
Yeah, so at Halloween time, there's projection during nighttime events. They don't really change it up during the day, and that I think is totally fine. I think honestly, it might be a little bit tacky if they like put pumpkins on it. It'd just be weird.
Yeah.
Replace the spires with gourds. Like,
No, let's not
no,
do
thank
that.
you. And then Disneyland is currently celebrating its 60th anniversary. So maybe that's why they're not celebrating Magic Kingdom's 50th because they still have the 60th decor up.
No, they
Um,
don't. The
th-
60th?
they don't?
The 60th was 2015.
Lord, I can't tell time. Well, the
That,
70th, I guess, is coming up.
yeah, in 3 years.
Wow. So
Wow.
just ignore everything that I just said about them still having the decor up because I'm wrong about that. You can tell how long it's been since I've been to Disneyland. It was in 2019, and I went because Galaxy's Edge was open and I hadn't been there yet. Anyways, they did decorate it for the 60th diamond anniversary. Dark blue with diamonds, glitter, and a large 60th logo in the center of the castle.
Yeah, although now that you mention the 70th anniversary,
It's only 3 years. You know they are planning it.
yeah, I just wonder like what. Oh, that's interesting. So I just looked up like apparently the color for the 70th anniversary, the wedding anniversary is diamond white. Oh, platinum. Apparently platinum is associated with luxury and prestige. So I wonder if we'll see like a platinum anniversary for the 70th.
Platinum anniversary. That's going to mean that the prices for everything go way, way up into the platinum range.
Well, I feel like platinum is highly reflective, and July 17th is their birthday, so they're just gonna like radiate heat off of everything
Here's
and
what we're
blind
gonna
us
do is we're
all.
gonna get these giant like reflective platinum mirrors and we're just gonna shine them into everybody's eyes. So
Yes.
you can't see the decorations.
So we won't know how bad they look.
Disney, hire us. We have such great ideas.
That's a terrible idea. Okay, let's move on to stage shows that take place in front of the castle. Allie, tell us about stage shows that take place in front of Disneyland's castle.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a stage, but there are musical performances. The Disneyland band will stop and perform there, and then Mary Poppins and her Pearly band will do occasional performances in front of the castle, and Bert will tag along too.
Yeah. And actually, you said there's not a stage in front of the castle, and that's true, but there is a giant like compass rose on the ground in
Mhm.
front of the castle. And there's also a time capsule buried under there. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, do you know when that gets opened?
I don't know. I want to say it was buried in like 1992 or something like that. It was buried a long time ago. So, I don't know. I guess
1992 was not that long ago. Speaking for all of us 90 babies out there.
Okay, anyways, at Magic Kingdom, the stage show that takes place is called Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair. This one's relatively new. It plays, periodically during the day at set times. You can check on the My Disney Experience app, and there's a little sign that shows when it plays. But if it's raining or whatever, it's not going to happen. And then there's a welcome show in the morning when the park opens. That'll, welcome everybody to the park. And then at night, the castle does a little show when the park closes. I think maybe a little bit after the park closes, called the Kiss Goodnight. So that's a really nice touch. And I've only caught that show once. I've stayed late enough to catch it. And I don't know if they're still doing it now that the parks have reopened from COVID. And I haven't stayed late enough since then to verify whether or not it's still happening.
So what tell me a little bit more about that if you can, because I mean I've heard you talk about it, but I don't really know much about it at all.
I don't really remember it too much. I just remember them saying like, I don't know, it's a little show on the castle, like a projection show. It's like the Kiss Goodnight from the castle. I don't
Well,
really
you're
remember
really
it.
selling it for me.
It was cute. I don't know. It was like a little 2-minute show.
Okay.
I really don't remember too much about it. Last time I saw it was before Felix was born, so it was like 5 years ago when I saw it,
Okay.
and it was like 1 in the morning. So
Yeah, it's pretty late at night.
yeah, that is pretty late at night.
So for our last category, we want to talk about photo ops. We talked about this a little bit in our episode on Main Street, but just the sheer differences between the photo pass in Magic Kingdom versus at Disneyland. So according to the Disneyland website, there is a photo pass at the Partner Statue and at Sleeping Beauty Castle. And thinking about it, I really think there's only a few locations. You can get like the one directly in front of the castle, and I believe there's one off to the side of the castle as well. And if you're lucky, there might be two at Partner Statue. But that's really it.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is sometimes behind the castle there might be one, maybe if you time it right. And if there's a character off to the side of the castle, sometimes there's a character meeting over by the Wishing Well. Sometimes they'll have a PhotoPass person with them. Sometimes. Meanwhile, at Magic Kingdom, like the castle is so large, you can see it from all around the park. Like you could get a picture with the castle over in Frontierland. You could get a picture with the castle like from pretty much anywhere on Main Street, and just right in that general vicinity of the castle, there's probably 6 or 7 PhotoPass photographers at least. And then there's more like off to the sides and even behind the castle. There's just a whole bunch. So I feel like the PhotoPass opportunities to take pictures with the castle, there's just way more.
There
And
can confirm.
yeah, and I feel like in Disneyland, you just can't see the castle from elsewhere in the park. You have to be right on top of it. I mean, even within Fantasyland, you turn a corner and the castle's gone.
Which, I mean, it doesn't take you out of the theming when you're in Frontierland, Adventureland, and all of a sudden there's this like castle that doesn't make sense. So
Yeah, yeah.
it works.
Yeah, I do feel like that is somewhat of a weakness of Magic Kingdom's castle. I do feel like it's a little bit weird to be standing in front of Splash Mountain and I'm like, oh, the castle's there. I mean, it's a pretty view, but I'm also like supposed to be in the wilderness and there's a castle, you know?
Yeah. There's not supposed to be civilization here.
A fantastical princess castle? It doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense. So now that we've got the facts laid out, it's time for the final showdown. We're going to do things similar to the way we did our Main Street final showdown in this castle battle. We're going to go over some of the select categories that we talked about and give them a ranking, and then determine which one is each of our respective winners from there. We are starting with the Wishing Well. CJ, thoughts?
The Wishing Well. Okay, this one goes to Snow White's Wishing Well, and I promise it's not because I got engaged there. I just think it's much better themed. I mean, they've got the waterfall off to the side, they've got the statues, they've got the music, and it's much more lush than Cinderella is. Cinderella just feels kind of like, oh, Disneyland has a wishing well, so we need to just plop one down here. And it's just really small and feels like an afterthought.
Yeah, I originally wasn't going to agree with you on this, but you're right. I was going to vote Magic Kingdom because, it's Cinderella's castle, it's Cinderella's wishing well. But the Snow White wishing well and the Snow White and the grotto over there, it's like a whole nother attraction and a whole nother experience. And it's in the shade, where Cinderella's wishing well is in direct sunlight, like most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm always looking for ways to cool off.
Yeah, there's been days where we spent like 10 or 15 minutes just like hanging out at the wishing well in Disneyland, just enjoying ourselves. Like it's a really pretty area to just hang out.
Next category, what's inside the castle? I'm going to take this one first, and the clear winner here for me is Disneyland. There's a whole attraction inside the castle.
I'm really, really torn on this. So on the one hand, we do have a really amazing attraction, Sleeping Beauty walkthrough, which I totally encourage everybody to do. And they have the alternate viewing area for those who are not able to do stairs. On the other hand, we have a restaurant, which I've never been to, but you can see princesses there. You have the Dream Suite, which 99.9% of people can't get to. And you've got Bippity Boppity Boutique as well.
Okay, so can you really count the Dream Suite, though? Because
no,
the vast majority of us.
And 2/3 of those things are extra pay experiences. So
I would say all of those things are extra pay experiences. Cinderella's Royal Table is a restaurant.
Yeah.
Bibbidi Boppity Boutique is an experience that you pay for, and the Dream Suite is, whew.
Yeah. So, okay, so that being said, it's got to go to Disneyland for me, because it's accessible by everybody, and I don't know, it's just cool. It's an attraction.
I'm glad we agree there. And I will also say that Cinderella's Royal Table, you haven't been there. The food was really good.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. You went for breakfast?
We did go for breakfast.
Okay, that might be the way to go because I don't like paying a lot for food. And I'm assuming that breakfast is cheaper than the other meals of the day.
Look at us. We're looking for air conditioning and ways to save money.
The eternal struggle. Okay, next category.
Yeah, the next category is the artwork on/in/around the castle.
I'm gonna go with Magic Kingdom because the mosaics that are there are so beautiful.
I feel like I should have looked up the mosaics because I don't think I've ever seen them before. So I don't know if my analysis of this is even really fair, not having seen them.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, why don't I go ahead and just Google them really quick?
Please hold.
Oh, wow, those are really pretty. And I like how they like depict the story, but they're not like direct replicas of the movie.
Correct.
Wow. Oh, well, the ugly stepsisters kind of look like direct replicas from the movie. That's okay, though. Wow. Those are really pretty. Okay. Now that I have seen both sets of artwork, I think I will have to agree here with Cinderella. That was a really, really beautiful depiction.
Told you. And now, guess what? You have to book another trip to come see them in person because I guarantee you they're much prettier in person than they are on the internet.
Oh, I have to go back to Disney World? Oh, no.
What a tragedy.
Oh, no. Anyways, let's talk about decorating for the 50th. This is a clear choice for me. It's Disneyland. Like the fact that they did like the really unique turrets, one for each decade, and then Magic Kingdom just got like a fresh paint job, like Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this. And it's just sad. Like you pointed it out, like they don't plan for a 50th anniversary in 1 year. Like they knew this was coming. This was coming. And yeah, like the paint job was probably, at least a year or two in the works. I mean, they started the paint job in 2020. So, I mean, they had that budgeted for well before the pandemic, clearly. And to just like throw on some banners when Disneyland got a very creative interpretation of the 50th. I mean, crowns representing each decade that the park was open. That's really an artistic look at the way, the first 50 years of the park went. It's just like, it's disappointing. And the theme of iridescent, yeah, it's a clever name, but like,
It
that's
could have
just,
been done without interfering with the 50th anniversary. You can have a different iridescent, because I really like that theme. I think it's hilarious and I love it. And I love the play on words, but I don't think it's appropriate for a 50th golden anniversary.
well, and it's not connecting to Magic Kingdom at all. It's a color. And I'm sorry, how is that connecting to Magic Kingdom's history and Walt Disney World's history? It's not. You just picked a color scheme.
I
Where,
mean, yeah, I wouldn't even call it like a color. It's like a styling of color.
yeah, whereas Disneyland, like they've got like the ears for the first decade. New Tomorrowland, that Tomorrowland remodel in 1967, like that was pretty iconic. 1967 was a big year for Disneyland. And then Main Street Electrical Parade premiering in the 70s. Indiana Jones changed the game for attractions in the 90s. And then like the 50th anniversary fireworks and Tinkerbell, that's still regarded as one of the best fireworks shows that Disneyland's ever created. It's just very specifically Disneyland stuff that they are celebrating with the 50th decorations. And iridescent is not a 50th anniversary theme. It's just not. It's a color scheme.
Moving on. Let's
sorry.
talk about fireworks shows and the use of the castle during fireworks shows. CJ, you're up first for this one.
I am going to go with Magic Kingdom because the projections are very, very, very well done. They do really, really good projection shows during Christmas time, before the fireworks show, during the fireworks show. They've really done a lot with projections there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think that both parks make the best use of their canvas, but that Magic Kingdom just has a better canvas for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that height really helps them. They have more of a blank space to do it.
And it totally transforms the castle too.
Yeah, it does. Next category.
Next category is Christmas and other special events, and I give this to Disneyland because you don't have to wait until nighttime to see it.
I am going to split from you on this one because it's not all just about Christmas. I think it's really cool that they decorated for other things, even though they kind of get some, what's the right word? They kind of get thrown out a little bit for like the Candy Castle and the Stitch takeover thing. I think it's really cool that they did that, even though it
was not well received.
Yeah, even though it gets talked poorly about. And I think it's also really cool that they did celebrate Disneyland's 50th anniversary. They participated in that. I also think the Castle Dream Lights, the snow lights, they do look very, very, very beautiful. Even though it's only at night, it is beautiful. And I think my final like overarching point here is they don't just decorate for holidays, they decorate for other things too. Even though it doesn't happen that often, they still put that extra effort in.
And I will tack on to that, in the winter, the sun sets pretty early, so it's not like you have to wait until 8, 9 o'clock at night to see the light stuff. 4:30, it's dark enough. So.
Not here in Florida. The sun sets later here in Florida.
Yeah, well, it still gets dark early in the winter.
That's true. It does. All right, what's our next category?
Our next and final category is stage shows and other shows. You're up first.
I am going to go with Disneyland because I don't like that at Magic Kingdom it's so crowded for the castle stage shows. I think they're good shows and it's a good chance to see characters, but you know how people like wait around for parades and they kind of camp out and hold a spot? It's like that, but kind of on a smaller scale, and they just clog the front of the castle. And it's annoying to deal with. And then they close off the pathway that goes through the castle for those things. So it's a pain to deal with. And that's not really fun. Whereas at Disneyland, like when the Disneyland band is performing there, it's more spontaneous. And when the Pearly band is there, it's like, they sometimes involve the audience, and it feels more like intimate and like a fan. I don't want to call it a fan park, but that's when I feel like it's a locals park more, and I feel like that warm fuzzy feeling that I don't get so much at Magic Kingdom. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I will also point out that they do close off the castle walkway during the
Oh
shows at Disneyland
yeah,
as well, because otherwise you'd be walking straight into the band. Like,
that's true. I forgot about that. They do.
yeah. But no, I think I don't have a lot of experience with the Magic Kingdom shows at all. I think I saw like half of one in 2016 or something. I did see the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party show in 2018, and that was really cool. I really, really liked that, how they got all the villains out. But I do think that based on my admittedly limited experience, I would have to give this to Disneyland.
Yeah, I forgot we didn't even talk about they do like those little shows during the Halloween party and stuff like that too. Okay, so I think we need to tally up our scores here.
Yeah.
So, okay, so wishing well, we have Disneyland. Inside the castle, we have Disneyland. Artwork, we have Magic Kingdom. Decorating for the 50th, we have Disneyland. Use of the castle during fireworks, we have Magic Kingdom. Decorations, we are for Christmas and everything else, we are split. Castle stage show, we have Disneyland.
So the total is 5-3 in favor of Disneyland.
Yeah. Now, I guess when we boil it down to which castle do you think is better, that would show that Disneyland wins. But Allie, do you agree with that assessment based on the raw scores?
Yes, absolutely. I do believe that Disneyland has the superior castle. Honestly, I didn't know there was a Cinderella castle walkthrough. I didn't know that there was a water
A
around the Cinderella
walkthrough?
castle. Yeah, walk
Oh, oh, you mean like you could go
under
walk
it
through the under the
and
castle.
see
Okay.
where the mosaics are. It's surrounded by concrete, and like just the castle itself is beautiful, but the surrounding area is ugly. Like I'm sorry, it's concrete everywhere. There's versus at Disneyland is beautiful, it's green, and there's water, there's a full-on moat. Like I'm sorry, it's Disneyland.
Interesting. Because I thought for sure you were gonna say that at the end. I thought you were gonna say at the end of this that Cinderella is your favorite, so you're still gonna love Cinderella Castle above the
Well,
rest.
yes, I love Cinderella, but there's more things to consider than
Okay.
just I love this princess, therefore her castle is the best. Like, please, you think I'm that shallow? I have depth, CJ. I am like the moat surrounding the castle. I am deep and full of alligators.
Oh my goodness.
There are no
Okay.
alligators at Disney parks, just in my
That
soul.
that is not true. There are alligators in Walt Disney World. Th- Please do not go in the water. Heed by the signs. There are alligators.
Yeah.
Seriously, seriously. I think I would also agree with this assessment based on the numbers. I'm with you. It is surrounded by concrete, and it's hard to see that there is water next to Cinderella Castle. You have to like walk right up to the edge and peer over to see like, oh, there is water down here. And there's a lot of trees at Disneyland, which add to the lushness of like the view that you're looking at. I, I appreciate that Cinderella Castle is big and it's beautiful. And if you're just looking at the castle, it is a very pretty castle,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it's beautiful from the front, from the back, from all angles, and it is very cool to be able to see it when you're riding on the People Mover, when you're riding on Astro Orbiter, when you're at the top of Splash Mountain and you catch that glimpse when you go down the hill. But I just like bigger isn't always better when it comes to the castle, you know? Like you don't always.
Sometimes the older sibling gets it right.
What is that supposed to mean? Oh my gosh, I feel like I've been attacked this evening. But hey, you know what? I think we've proven that the older sibling is always better.
Ouch.
The
Okay.
perfect, the perfect,
So,
the perfect template that proves that another one needs to be made
all right,
because she's so popular.
listeners, we need to know, did I deserve that or is CJ being mean to me? Let us know. You can tweet us at Park2Park Pod. You can come at us on Instagram, also Park2Park Pod, both of those with the number 2.
I
You can
wasn't
send us an
done.
email, park2parkpod@gmail.com.
I wasn't
CJ,
done.
continue.
My other point, and I was kind of talking about this, is like the stuff inside the castle. Like at Disneyland, everybody can access that. Like, okay, if you can't do stairs, they made an accessible version of the Sleeping Beauty walkthrough. And I think they do close it a little bit early for fireworks and stuff, but anyone can experience that attraction. But you can't get into the Dream Suite except in very special circumstances. You can't go to Cinderella's Royal Table unless you want to spend money. You can't go to Bippity Boppity Boutique unless you want to spend money. So the castle itself feels like an exclusive experience, going inside there. The Wishing Well is kind of ugly and it's in a poor location. It's just it's not that great. I don't know. Sleeping Beauty Castle wins.
So let us know if you agree or disagree, dear listeners. I gave you all our Twitters and our Instagrams and our email address earlier. So you can just rewind a little bit and listen to that if you missed it. You can also send us questions, feedback, future episode ideas, anything that you'd like. We actually got some feedback from a friend of ours, Katie. Hi, Katie. We used to go to the Disney parks with Katie and her brother a lot when we were younger, when we were teens and whatnot. Katie said that her favorite memory of the Disney parks with us was waiting 4 hours in line for Radiator Springs Racers on opening day.
That was a really fun day. We okay, so I was working till like 5 p.m. So I couldn't get off early. And I think DCA must have been open till 10 that night, and
it had to have been.
Yeah, we booked it to DCA and we waited for Radiator Springs Racers, and then we had time to do one of the other Cars Land rides, so we did Major's Junkyard Jamboree, and we brought Mad Libs to do in line, I think.
We did. So thanks for sharing that memory with us, Katie. That was honestly a great time. We had a lot of really great times going to the park with you and Matt. And CJ, if I say these words, I hope you remember them. Brick Wall and Flavio.
Yes, I do remember. I remember that.
I don't remember which of you was Brick Wall and which was Flavio, but I know you were one of them and Matt was the other.
I think I was Brick Wall. I'm pretty sure. We'll have to get Matt's opinion on which one was which. But I'm pretty sure I was Brick Wall. Anyways, so next episode, we're going to be taking a ride on the railroad and the monorail.
Yeah, so come join us in 2 weeks for our discussion about these transportation operations.
Choo choo, meep, meep. Those are my railroad and monorail noises.
I thought there was a train like in my room right now. Like that was amazing. That was a beautiful, impeccable impersonation.
Please stand clear of the doors.
Wow. Like I'm really there.
Oh my goodness. All right, people, we will see you next time.
Thanks for joining us.